Hello everyone, I'm H2Acon from Online Knights, and this is Mass Effect Factions, the series where we cover the various races and factions from the Mass Effect trilogy, obviously with some spoilers. We split each episode into 4 sections: history, anatomy, military, and culture. This is episode 12, and today we'll be taking a look at the Collectors. Starting off, history, the backstory of the Collectors up until the start of the games. The Collectors were created over 50,000 years ago during the previous harvest, where the Reapers drove the Prothean Empire to extinction. During a harvest, the Reapers replicate by creating new Reaper AIs using neural information extracted from their victims. For whatever reason, the Reapers were unable to do this with the Protheans, and so all captured Protheans were turned into husks, normally only those deemed unsuitable for processing being indoctrinated. This meant that the Reapers had a huge army of Prothean husks, which were deployed as expendable cannon fodder in battle. Eventually, the Protheans and other species of their cycle were destroyed, and the Reapers retreated back to dark space to await the next harvest. Despite not being able to construct a new Reaper with them, the Reapers didn't want to waste the large number of Prothean husks which were left over, and so relocated them to a space station near the center of the galaxy, accessible only by the Omega-4 mass relay. These Prothean husks were left as a ready-made army for when the next harvest began, and for tens of thousands of years they quietly laid in wait. Around 1600 CE, the newly ascended races of the galaxy began to report sightings of these Prothean husks, but these scattered reports were generally dismissed as being mere rumor. Eventually they started to make contact with select individuals who would act as agents for them, helping them to make trade deals with various groups around the galaxy. These deals typically involved them providing small amounts of advanced technology in exchange for live subjects, many of the pirate gangs they contacted being more than happy to trade a few slaves for such valuable equipment. No one knew the fate of those traded. Some suspected they were to be eaten, and others even suggested possible sexual fetishism due to the odd nature of many of the trade requests, asking for 16 pairs of Batarian twins in one instance. In actual fact, those given over were tested and dissected in an attempt to gain better intelligence on their eventual enemies. Despite not knowing their intentions, the galaxy came to know this mysterious group as the Collectors, in reference to these requests. Apart from these occasional trade deals, contact between the Collectors and the galaxy has been virtually non-existent by the start of the trilogy. The Collectors never really leave their base, and no one has ever returned after going through the Omega-4 relay, the Collectors destroying those who intrude on their hidden lair. Most deny that the Collectors even exist, giving them a potentially devastating element of surprise, should they ever choose to strike. Secondly, anatomy, a description of Collector physiology. As mentioned previously, the Collectors were originally Protheans, and still exhibit most of their basic features, being humanoid, with 4 eyes, distinctively shaped heads, and a quad strand of DNA. Over their 50,000 years of waiting, the Collectors were subject to extensive cybernetic modifications by the Reapers. Their DNA has been extensively altered, the Reapers removing 3 entire chromosomes and cutting out most of the junk sections of those which were left. One improvement made, though, was the addition of small but fully functional wings which allow Collectors to fly over short distances. However, all this modification has devolved the Collectors, each Collector now being little more than a mindless clone with limited ability to think for itself. A unique form of Collector has been observed, one which appears far more like a giant insect, with multiple claw-like legs and a much larger head. This form appears to fill a leadership role over the common drones, and is likely the coordinating force behind their dealings with other races. Thirdly, military, an assessment of the fighting abilities of the Collectors. Collector technology is substantially more advanced than that of the Citadel races, benefiting from both Prothean technology and extra advancements supplied to them by the Reapers. This means that Collectors are armed with hyper-developed weaponry, such as particle beam rifles, which give them a distinct edge in combat. Using Reaper technology, the Collectors are also able to turn their victims into husks and other larger forms, which they use to augment their already considerable military. In space, the Collectors use enormous cruisers which are larger than the dreadnoughts of other species. The main cannon of these cruisers are capable of crippling smaller vessels in only a single hit. But despite having such powerful ships and weaponry, the Collectors prefer not to use them, wanting to show themselves as little as possible to maintain their secrecy. They therefore tend to only fight in hit-and-run attacks, overwhelming lightly guarded colonies quickly and leaving before help arrives. The Collectors start these attacks by releasing swarms of Seekers, small organic drones which are able to paralyze their victims by stinging them. The Collectors are then able to move in and collect the paralyzed colonists, with minimal resistance and leaving no trace of a battle. Finally, culture, a look at Collector behavior. Since collector drones have no individual personalities, they tend to show no concern for self-preservation. This mindlessness is also responsible for the boring look of collector technology and structures, being designed purely for their utility and with no thought being given to either user comfort or aesthetic quality. Collector technology is also frequently a fusion of organic and mechanical parts, reflecting the hybrid nature of the collectors themselves. The unique form of collector commonly referred to as the Collector General is the coordinating mind behind the collector forces, however it itself is also indoctrinated, being controlled from afar by the Reaper known as Harbinger. This Collector General acts as a conduit through which Harbinger is able to give orders to all collectors and their husks, sometimes even taking full control over an individual to fight opponents personally. Collectors are now nothing more than just puppets for Harbinger, any trace of their Prothean heritage being lost long, long ago. So, that's the collectors. We hope that you've enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment with any feedback, and if you have any suggestions for the series, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more. I've been H2Acon, and I'll see you next time.